Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you with the Steelers talk. It's always sweet after the victory. Close one in Atlanta, but Gingy, Laskers in the house. They're here to tell you their thoughts on a nice Steelers win. 5-7, trending up, winning streak. Gingy, all you.
Mutant Gingy in the house. Hell yeah, Donkey. Coming in after a win feels pretty sweet. Sliding right into Ravens weekend. Oh my, oh my. First time, the first of two that we're going to have in what? 3-4 weeks with them? I think it's 2 over 3 weeks.
Lots of fun with the Ravens.
We'll say 4.
That is for sure.
Yeah. 4 weeks.
Laskers,
but that's getting doped for that, Donkey. Let's go.
We are. Laskers, thoughts on the win over Atlanta. I wish it was.
It was definitely a good game. Concern is, are we going to actually bring Boswell back this week or not?
It doesn't seem to matter, as Matthew Wright loves to kiss the uprights, but he loves to make the field goals, so it hasn't been a big problem there. And his kickoffs were a lot better this week, as you did not see Cordero Patterson make a difference in the game, which is nice. But Angie, most important Steelers fact, before you get into what you saw in Cincinnati, Steelers, first quarter, they were leading. You know what that means? They won the game. 5-0 leading after the first quarter, Gingy. But break down what you saw in Atlanta.
Donkey, the recipe for success. Let's hear it. 5 yards a carry for Najee. Let's go. 4 yards a carry for Benny. Recipe to success, over 150 yards on the ground total, I believe.
Gingy, yeah, look at missing out on Sims was 6.3.
Oh, yeah, a couple end arounds there. You know, taking the old spot of Chase Claypool on that kind of gadget play. Overall,
I gotta hit the pause
consistent.
Pause button, though, Gingy. Yes, running game, very successful. But fun fact about the running game. The Steelers are one of 4 teams remaining in the NFL without a 100-yard rusher on the season. Gingy, Laskers, you guys care to take a gander at who the other 3 are?
I have no idea.
Laskers, you live by one of them. Come on now.
So Singletary hasn't got 100-yard rusher in the season.
The Buffalo Bills, no 100-yard running backs. The Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Rams, the only other teams without a 100-yard rusher. Gingy, good things from the running game. Does this stat even concern you at all?
No, not really. Not with the way that the Steelers are going to set this up for. You know, with the two-headed running game, here's what I think about your 100-yard rusher. With a two-headed running game, Najee Harris with 86 plus Benny Snell with 24 is a 100-yard rusher. In my mind.
You're forgetting the second leading rusher on the Pittsburgh Steelers as it stands today is Kenny Pickett. I'm just going to put that out there. So
he only averaged 2 yards a carry.
I know, what a slacking day by him. But Gigi, break down the rest of what you saw in the Falcons game. Got into the running game, what you saw and what you liked. Take it from there.
I got one point to make real quick before Gingy goes into that. James Cook and Singletary were over 100 yards combined for the Buffalo Bills.
It's not combined, Laskers. It's a single individual.
I'm just going with what Gingy was going with.
There you go. Support the logic. Yes.
They had 115 yards.
Perfect. What else am I seeing from the game? Consistent play on the Steelers' end. Didn't give up the big one. Nothing crazy on special teams like they did versus the Colts week prior. But second half, slow second half. So the Falcons played their game much more in the second half, the type of game that they like to play. And
they dominated the line of scrimmage, ran it down the Steelers' throat. There's 9-minute touchdown drives. But in the end, Gingy, them playing their game is what cost them a chance to win the game because they ran too much damn time off the clock.
Well, they didn't get it done the way they needed to in the first half, and that's on them. That's the type of game. Steelers did enough the first half to pull out the victory.
That's true. I'll take you on that. Some other fun things come from that game is no turnovers for 4 straight weeks is the first time in recorded Steelers history, which means at least since 1939, the Steelers have never gone 4 games without a turnover. So kudos to them there. You know I love talking about records. And another record, the most wins, the first franchise in NFL history since the merger to reach 500 wins is your Pittsburgh Steelers. That happened this week. That's a huge shout out. Now, there is a couple takes I wanted to get from you, Gingy. Third down efficiency. Defense holds Atlanta to 3 of 12, and the offense is 6 of 12, 50% for them, holding the opponent to 25%. Pretty good stats when you're looking to win the game right there when you dig into the numbers, right?
I think they had a similar performance the week before in terms of third down conversions as well, right around 50%. And yeah, that's more where we need to be at as an offense. Give that defense a chance to rest. Don't let them get swarmed and run down like they'd have before with constant 3 and out after a long drive, defensive stand, constant 3 and out. Can't let that happen, and the Steelers are doing better at putting drives together. Staying on the field. Now, Donkey, my main concern jumping in next is having 4 field goals in a game. We'd really like to see turn some of these drives into points. I was listening to the call on the radio, and I believe it was Max Starks on the sideline who had some pretty interesting calls about the about being able to turn them 3 into 7.
That's true. I don't think they really struggled from the red zone this week. The problem was getting into the red zone. The touchdown drive happened, and there was another drive I felt was on the verge of touchdown, and then you get a false start by Deontay Johnson, followed by a delay of game. Again, procedural penalties killing drives for the Steelers. I hear you on that, but only 1 3 and out this week by the offense. And when you look at it this way, Gingy, what I'm going to look at is really I only consider 1 drive by the offense this week a fail. Because you consider, let's take out the 2 drives that ended the half. That was 1 play each, a run and a kneel down to end the half and end the game. Take those out of the equation. The first half, the Steelers are 4 of 4 scoring when they touch the football. 3 field goals, 1 touchdown. But still, 4 of 4 scoring is huge. In the second half, they're only 1 of 3 scoring. But let's remember that third drive right after the 3 and out, because they started with a field goal, 3 and out. That last drive, they weren't trying to score. They were trying to run out the clock and say what you want. I think they did. They ran like 4.5 minutes off the clock, made Atlanta burn all their timeouts. I believe they punted back to Atlanta with about 35 seconds. And what a punt by Big Press, getting them down at the 2-yard line. Huge momentum at the end of the game. Next play, Mariota just throws a terrible pass. Minka catches it, runs out of bounds. Game over. I thought the offensive performance, yes, touchdowns need to happen, but all in all, we're trending in the right direction. A young quarterback, a below-average offense coordinator. All you want is them going forward, getting better every week. Matt Canada's getting less predictable in his play calling. Kenny Pickett's getting more comfortable. This running game's starting to come together with that offensive line. You're really seeing them gel together, which let's not overlook the fact that they brought in 2 new starters, and Dotson didn't play the whole preseason. This team's really trending better on offense, but we got to do it against the good competition. Fair enough, Gingy?
I buy it.
And any concern for you the way Atlanta just dominated the Steelers' defense in that second half? I mean, this is an Atlanta team that gives up a bunch of sacks. The Steelers couldn't get pressure, Gingy, and they just ran the ball right down our throat. Going in against Baltimore, I understand Lamar Jackson is their running game, but a young quarterback or a backup quarterback, it looks like, are you any concern at all with the way Atlanta was able to expose the Steelers in those running scenarios this week?
Steelers have been exposed on the run defense most of this season, Donkey. And yeah, there's some level of concern. Of course, you cannot let them put them sustained drives together against that defense. That's what I was talking about earlier, wearing them down, tiring them out, almost let them get back in the game. But when you put, I think we've said it before. It's been a consistent theme this season, although we haven't got to take advantage of it too much. The dub makes all the rough edges a little bit softer.
It certainly does. And a rough edge last week, I'm going to bring up with you. Any concern at all with George Pickens throwing a little bit of a sideline tantrum because he's not getting the ball? Does that concern you?
It definitely concerns me because it's starting to get to the Antonio Brown situation when he wasn't getting the ball enough.
We can only hope he is that good.
True.
Gingy, I have one thing that's going to lead into the Baltimore talk before we get to the Gingy differential. 8 of 12 games this year, the Steelers have given up a 100-yard rusher. Does this run defense need to improve, or is stopping people from 100 yards 25% of the time actually being successful?
Oh, boy. Donkey, that's a really tough question in today's NFL, right? What are we looking at in terms of the production and what is the purpose of running the football, right? What is it to run? I don't know, Donkey. I don't know the answer
For
to that
most
question
teams, it's
outright.
to win. But then
Yeah,
you have the damn Chiefs and Buffalo Bills who
well,
never run the football. So I don't know.
I think it's a fair bit more complicated than just wins and losses, Donkey. You run the football to maintain momentum, time of possession. You run the football to allow some matchups to occur on the outside. You get some different schemes out there. Man, one of the things that's, the Steelers need to be able to run the ball out of different formations where it might actually look like they pass. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of thing that we need to set up when we have successful plays early on in the beginning of the game. So running for that. Okay, so let me talk to you about that 100-yard rusher thing. I do not care if we get a 100-yard rusher all season if Najee runs 12 for 60. Average
True
5
that.
yards a carry, make it a threat, and then the run serves its purpose. So that's what I guess I'm trying to elaborate about when I'm talking about what is the purpose of the run.
Right.
I think that the Steelers use it effectively to assist Kenny Pickett in finding openings in the middle, giving him enough time to throw. So, Donkey, if you're ready, that kind of leads me into my differential.
Go. Hit it.
That's the 5 yards of carry from Najee. We've been waiting for it all season, being able to have that two-headed running attack, and that's the other thing too, Donkey. 5 yards of carry from Najee. I think that he's more likely to produce 12 for 60 than he is 20 for 100. All right, I don't know if he's a 20 touch, from the backfield through the tackles game type of guy.
We can't let him do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if any run. I don't know if there are
hear-
NFL running backs who are at this point.
There's quite a few out there, and you saw one on Thursday night, Josh Jacobs. See, I agree with you, but then I'm like, man, but if he isn't that, why do we spend a first rounder on him?
Yeah.
You just scare me there when you get. But Oscars, I want to bring up one last thing before we get to talking about last week's pick and the Baltimore game. Donkey's X Factor, Pat Firemouth, rumbling, stumbling, fumbling his way down the sideline. That was pretty to see. I think it's the longest reception of his career. Nice little tone setter there. Big physical tight ends getting out there and running down the field. It was pretty fun to watch, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. You gotta love a tight end that can actually rumble, fumble, and get out. Not fumble, but you know what I mean. Get down the field.
I had fumble too, so I'm not going to call you out on it.
I know. You said fumble, but that's why I went with what you said. But you gotta love a tight end that can do that. He's looking pretty good this year.
He definitely is. Nothing like playing in Atlanta, having Connor Hayward catch his first career touchdown in the stomping grounds of his father, the great Ironhead. Cam out there being emotional. Fun to see. Great way to end on the talk of the Haywards showing up in Hayward land out there.
Don't forget Hayward with that sack, though, too. Cam with the sack. You can't miss that either.
But before we get into the Baltimore game, I'm going to start recapping our picks from last week. Next week, I'll have our total pick record. I was missing a few papers, so I couldn't get up the whole total pick record this week. But last week, both Blaskers and Gingy go 2-2. Donkey's making up ground, baby. 4-0. Let's go. How y'all pick the Houston Texans, I'll never know. Come on, have you watched that team play? I don't think they would even beat half the college team right now. That team is bad.
Just a wing and a prayer.
Honestly, with me, an offensive touchdown.
And exactly
That's
that
fair.
right there is why I questioned it. Is because I didn't think I thought the Browns were going to come out and score 11 points. To be honest with you, that's what I thought was going to happen. And
Well,
I
if
don't
you
regret
that
my
game started
choice.
out awesome, with
well,
a sack, a safety.
speaking
I
of
don't
11
regret my
points,
choice.
apparently if you play the Denver Broncos, that's all you need to score in order to win the football game. Baltimore,
That is
the pick to win.
ridiculous.
I can't argue with you both taking Patty Mahomes against Joe Burrow, but history's starting to say y'all better start taking Joe Burrow in those games because he seems to be Patty Mahomes' kryptonite there. By the way, if you didn't watch that game, y'all missed out because that was a hell of a game back and forth Cincinnati, Kansas City. Really fun watch.
Oh, it was a good game.
Toss-up
That
coin flip, I feel.
That leads us Pittsburgh-Baltimore series history: 32-24 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe this game's at home, so that's the record that matters more. Steelers
Yes.
are 19-11 at home, 13-13 on the road. The largest win in the series is the Steelers by 37. Way back on the 9th of November, 1997, they won 37 to nothing. That's a hell of a way to put up the biggest win in the series. Baltimore's biggest win was 28 points on September 11th, 2011. They won 35 to 7. The longest streak is the Steelers won 5 straight between 97 and 99 and 01 and 03. Baltimore's longest streak is 4 from 15 to 16. The current streak is the Steelers have won 4 straight right now. None really pretty, none really decisive before great wins. The last meeting was actually the 9th of January this year, way back 11 months ago. The Steelers win that game 16-13 because, well, that's just the Steelers-Ravens game, right? That's the exact score you always expect, 16-13.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Some other fun tidbits about this game. Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, right? It's Jim, whatever. Dan Harbaugh coaches the Ravens. This will be their 28th regular season meeting. If you didn't know, that's clearly the most between two head coaches all time. That increases their record I guess in the Super Bowl era. That increased their matchup. Tomlin leads the all-time season series 17-14. That's 2-1 in the playoffs, although the last playoff game went to the Ravens. Anything fun that you guys see out there between the coaching matchup before we get into breaking down the actual Ravens game here? And Gingy, I'm gonna go to you because I know we just lost Laskers for a minute.
Hell yeah! Oh man, hope we get Laskers back, but gotta get excited for Ravens weekend. This is the first time we've seen them this year, and Donkey, it really relies the center of their offensive unit, the center of their team, Lamar Jackson. Is he in or out for this weekend?
Doubtful for the game is what the last injury report said. I don't think he's going to play. That knee injury it kept him out of last week. I don't see how he comes back this week. But you're right there. And I'm going to try to put in the filler before Lasker gets back. So I'm going to break down the Ravens statistically this year. Offensively, they're 11th in points at 23 a game. That's 14th in the league in yards. A big hurt to them is they're 27th in the league passing and 3rd in the league rushing. But remember, Lamar Jackson is their biggest runner. He has, 700 yards, which is 300 yards more than the number 2 runner on that team in Kenyon Drake. Defensively, the Ravens are 9th in the league in points, allowing just under 20 a game. 13th in yards, 25th against the pass. So their weakness is the pass, which might be the problem for the Steelers. Run defense, they're 2nd in the league. Time of possession, they come in 4th in the league at about 32-30 a game. The Steelers are 7th in the league, I believe, at about 31.5 a game. But some things the Ravens do well. They set the quarterback 5th most sacks in the league with 37 and the 8th most interceptions with 11. But they're missing some key players from that secondary. They might be missing some other people. Laskers, Ravens-Steelers matchup. What's it mean for you?
Well, this is a big one. It's going to be a tough fight game for us, even though it's looking like more and more like their quarterback's going to be out. It's still going to be a tough uphill battle, and we just got to score points in the first half, but we got to score points in the second half.
Make sure you bring a chin strap with 2 buckles because you're going to need them both, and they better be tight. Let's break into that injury report really quick. Of course, the Steelers right now, questionable players are Malik Reed, TJ Watt and I believe Deontay Johnson are the only ones listed with an injury designation, all as questionable for the game. For the Ravens, some big important ones for them is on the defensive side, Marcus Peters, Patrick Queen are both listed as questionable. On the offensive side, you got Lamar Jackson listed as doubtful. It really doesn't look like he's going to play. Along with Zietler, their big starting guard, who's one of their best run pushers, also listed as questionable, missing some practice this week. But more importantly to me is a couple players on the IR for the Ravens. You're talking about Rashad Bateman, their best receiver, not going to play because he's on the IR. And you're talking about Williams, the safety that they picked up from New Orleans, who had 3 interceptions in the 4 games he played this year for Baltimore, isn't going to be suiting up. So there's a lot of injuries out there. How big of a factor is injuries going to play? I mean, if it's Lamar Jackson, that it might be the biggest thing in the game, right, Gingy?
I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be the difference. Stay tuned.
I mean, he's listed as doubtful. That's a good sign for the Steelers.
Well, I think Harbaugh said after the game, it could be days to weeks, but it's more likely weeks. That happened last week. So, heck, he might not even be back by the second time the Steelers playing with that injury. They have a capable backup who put up some good numbers last year. I believe Huntley's his name. Maybe last year, check me on that. But I mean, he had some interesting games. Looked, decent for like 3 games, and then the whole NFL gets the tape on you. It's hard to do type of thing caught up with him. And I think knowing that he's out the whole week helps the Steelers because they can go back and they can study those films that they had before. As a matter of fact, I believe we played him last year, did we not, Gingy?
Yep, we did.
Was that the 16-13 good old double chin strapper?
That is correct.
All right. So we know that he can be competitive against the Steelers, so let's not get too overconfident on that part. When we look at the Ravens offensively, Gingy, you're looking at Mark Andrews, maybe the best tight end of the game. You're looking at a crew of running backs out there who all seem to put up decent numbers. Obviously led right now by Kenyon Drake, I don't know, you want to call him explosive scat back who's been in Miami, San Francisco, other spots like that. Huntley's probably going to be in there at quarterback. But I mean, the crew of wide receivers like Devin Duvernay, guys like that don't really scare you, but they have good receiving running backs. They have a good receiving tight end. I know their passing yards is about 200 a game. Are you more scared of the Ravens running at us without Lamar Jackson or being able to maybe exploit more throwing things with Huntley in there instead of Lamar Jackson?
Donkey, after last week, I'd like to focus on the run. Make sure that we stop that down. If Huntley beats us with his arm, then by goodness, we just didn't have it in us this week, right? But
Fair.
if we allow him to start opening things up with his legs, like Lamar does, now we've seen Huntley do that. He is no slouch, Donkey.
He is definitely an athletic guy.
We're talking about, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he is not. He is not anything. It is by no means, I think. It is a major hindrance for the Ravens, but it is by no means rules them out. He is still a competitive NFL quarterback.
Yep, we got to see that last year when he stepped in and played. That's for sure. Maybe with Zeitler, I know Morgan Moses missed some practice. Maybe with some of these offensive linemen missing practice this week for the Ravens, maybe the pass rush, more specifically the run stopping, can step up this week because last week it wasn't very good. I mean, you saw DJ Watt run past the ball 2-3 times. You saw Highsmith not able to set the edge. What is the biggest focus for you on stopping this run? Is it these outside linebackers actually setting an edge this week? Or is it some penetration from the front 3 guys? You know, the Cam Haywards, the Larry Ogunjobi, DeMar Leal coming back in, Martavius Adams, Chris Wormley. Do one of these guys need to step up? And is it one of them? Or is it one of these outside linebackers that you're looking more to stop in the run with?
I think it's going to have to be about the backer setting the edge. When you have a running quarterback, everybody has to play their role and play containment. Can't let the big play up the middle with the guy's legs be the one that beats you, Donkey. If he's going to beat you, make him call a play and run a route that beats you. don't give up something stupid on a broken, funky play.
That's fair. Lashkers, you want to give a quick take of what you see against Ravens Steelers when the Ravens have the ball on offense? What you're looking for before we lose you again?
Yeah, that's a big problem right now.
Go, Laskers, hit us with it. What are you looking for when the Ravens have the ball? Houston,
Man
we have
down.
a problem. All right, Gingy,
Man down.
we'll go ahead and we'll flip sides here. We'll keep it covered. We'll make up as much as we can for Laskers. We're going to flip sides and win. The special teams is out there. Whether Boswell gets activated tomorrow, whether he doesn't, Matthew Wright's been playing pretty good. Harvin's been punting the ball pretty good there. I'm having trouble saying names today. But let's be honest here, Justin Tucker's king. I think at one point they actually tried a 70-yard field goal to win a game because that dude's that dude, right?
Ridiculous, yeah. Probably GOAT.
So
I think I'm back now.
Let's not let the game come down to Justin Tucker. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Lasker, since you're back, you can lead us into what are you looking for when the Steelers have the ball on offense?
Big run plays. That's what I'm looking for.
Let's go.
Jalen Warren maybe getting a little more touches could be explosive. Najee, little less touches makes him more explosive?
I like it. Yeah.
Third off, going to be a chance for the Steelers to prove if that running game is legit. As I said earlier, the Ravens are, in fact, the number 2 team against the rush this year in the NFL, only giving up 82 yards a game. So, going to be a little bit hard to get there. Their weakness is the pass game. Maybe we have to focus a little more on Kenny Pickett hitting these receivers, or perhaps Pat Freiermuth, Connor Hayward, Zach Gentry. Who needs wide receivers when you have a 3-headed Cerberus out there at your tight end core, Gingy?
Awesome. No one does. Let's go. Although it would help to see some good wide receiver play this week. Donkey, I don't know. You know how I feel about Deontay. I really need to see something. We paid this man, Donkey. I'm not saying he's a bad receiver. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking, man, Deontay has such an amazing skill set, but if you would allow me to make an analogy, Donkey, there's a stat when you're playing tennis, professional tennis, they keep a stat of unforced errors. If they keep the stat of unforced errors in the NFL, I think Deontay would be at the top of that list. But now he hits the ace from time to time, sticking with the tennis reference. He's like the Andy Roddick of the NFL, if you will. Okay, and I do not know if I want Andy Roddick swinging this, hit an ace, do an unforced error. I do not know if I want that to be the number 1 guy at your wide receiver.
Andy Roddick's a little too consistent for him. I don't know if he watched modern tennis, but he's more like Nick Kyrgios, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yes,
gets all the crazy stuff going, has the talk to back it up, but never really does anything because he gets in his own way,
and then makes a 15-yard catch for 5 yards.
I am way out on you guys talking about tennis.
No, that's
yeah.
Don't worry about it, Lasker.
I took it too far.
I liked where Gingy went, and I'm just gonna try to give my player rep to his tennis reference there because I loved it. That was good. At least I will say this: you saw Deontay Johnson, and Pickens has talked about it. At least Deontay Johnson is showing a leadership ability and a leadership role, which maybe the fact that he likes to run backwards when he has first downs, the fact that he drops surefire touchdowns, maybe we can start to overlook that a little bit if, in fact, he is going to become a leader on this team, because that's something I want to see. I mean, Kenny Pickett has that factor and people want to follow him, but you need other guys out there. And each player group, that's going to be that dude. And if that dude's going to be Deontay Johnson, I'll be honest with you, I can live with him getting paid like a 1 if he's going to be that leader, because honestly, he has 1B to A talent, the Juju Smith-Schuster talent level guys. If you pay him like a 1, you overpaid him, but you're not going to get him paying him like a 2 type of guy.
Yeah,
and I hear what you're saying, but yeah, unforced errors, mental lapses.
That's the summary right there. But just does stuff he doesn't have to.
We're gonna go ahead and call this advanced metric. the gingometer of wide receivers, and the gingometer measures unforced errors. Unforced errors, Deontay Johnson's number one. So now he can be two advanced metric stats leaders. Separation per play, which is how open you are. They like to say he's the most open receiver in football. So now he's the most open receiver in football, and he's the most inconsistent most inconsistent receiver in football, as he has unforced errors left and right. I will go ahead and Gingy, I'm going to come back to you every week, and we're going to see what our number of unforced errors per week is on him. I'm going to watch the past game tapes, and I'll give you my take on them from there to here. But we'll definitely measure that going forward. When you look at Baltimore, though, I want to point out some guys. You're talking Justin Houston has 9 sacks in 9 games. Damn, I wish we would have signed him 2 years ago.
Yeah,
dude's playing out of his mind. That pass
he was
rush
too
is pretty
expensive,
good.
though.
Justin Houston, Oway out there. JPP signed there. Of course, Calais Campbell. You know, that dude's just always around, and that dude's just always making plays. All, 6, 7 of them. You get to the linebackers. Patrick Queen's having a great year if he plays. They added Roquan Smith. Dude who was a first-round pick by the Bears. There's a reason he's a first-round pick. Great run-stuffing linebacker. Same with Patrick Queen. There's a reason the Ravens are great at stopping the run and not so good at stopping the pass. Both those guys I just mentioned can't cover anything. So that's a good spot for the tight ends to exploit. When you look at the secondary, I believe Peters was on the injury report. He's really hot and cold type of guy. Of course, they have Humphrey still out there. He has 3 interceptions this year. That dude's legit at the cornerback position. Their safeties are kind of weak. They have the kid from Notre Dame, the rookie. But really, that back half is the way the Ravens are to me. They have one of the strongest front sevens in football and one of the weakest back fours in football. Maybe this is the week Kenny Pickett has to hit Dante, hit Pickens, hit Sims, hit Olszewski, hit one of the Cerberus tight ends. Maybe Gingy, just maybe, this is a week Najee Harris finally shows something in the passing game?
Ooh. Let's hope so. That would be a big outlet for Kenny.
That would be nice. Laskers, if you're here, do you have any takes before we get into picks on what you're looking for in the Steelers-Ravens game?
I'm looking for a big game from Deontay Johnson.
I like that. Baby. I like that. Gingy, any closing thoughts before we get to picks and X factors?
Oh, buckle up, donkey. It's gonna be less than a 3-point game, in my opinion.
I can hear that. Hey, I have a really, really positive note. We only have to pick 2 games this week because the AFC North's playing the AFC North, which means you got your Cleveland Browns traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. Laskers, who'd you like?
I'm going Bongles by 7.
Gingy.
Give me Cincy.
I'd almost never vote against Joe Burrow, so yeah, I like me some Bengals there. We got your Baltimore Ravens at your Pittsburgh Steelers on the TV channel of CBS, coming to you Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff for you Eastern folks. That's 9 a.m. kickoff for you Alaska folks. I'll probably be watching it on a tiny little portal screen with the good old Zoidy in my mum. But hey, Laskers, you want to give me a score? You want to give me an X factor?
24-18 Steelers, and X factor Deontay Johnson.
I like it. Gingy, hit me up.
I like the number. Laskers. Give me 24-23 Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me an X factor of Pickens.
Of Pickens, nice. I like both of those.
Wide receivers. Yep. Attacking Baltimore secondary.
I said the Steelers-Ravens score is always 16-13, right? There's a reason I said that. 16-13, Pittsburgh Steelers, put it on the board. Let's chalk it up. X Factor, I'm not even going to pick one of them because last week I picked one and it ended up being all 3. I'm just going with the Cerberus boys, my tight end out there. They're going to get the job done, all 3 of them. They're going to set the wham blocks on the run plays, and they're going to catch the touchdown. Maybe it's going to be big old Gentry this week. I don't know, but that's what I like there. Let's get to shout-outs. Let's get to Laskers before we lose him for it.
Oh, boy, I got to go back and look. You know what? Let's give Sims a shout-out for his 6.3 yards a carry this past week. You know, good job, man.
Good. Dingy, don't you dare steal my shout-out, but go ahead.
I mean, for me, a couple different things come to mind. I'm going to go with shout out to Matthew Wright. 4 for 4 with a long for 48. And it mattered.
Kisses the upright.
And it mattered, yes. Kiss it goodnight, donkey. 19-16, baby. Read 'em and weep. Coming in for the for the longtime kicker Boz, and usually a surefire guy, great kicker. Tough to replace. 4 for 4 does it, and it does it in a game that mattered.
It did, and this is, by the way, back-to-back weeks, I believe he kicked it upright and put it in. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. Ask all the kickers who get the double doinks and then get fired because of the double doinks. I am so thankful you both left me my shout-out. Playing at the home of his pops, Connor Hayward, first career touchdown. Let's go, baby. Got to give the shout-out.
Here we go.
But special.
It's a good one,
shout-out. Steeler Nation. Steeler Nation. 500 wins since the merger. First team ever. Shout-out has to go to everyone in Steeler Nation, because it's not without the fans, it's not without the owners, it's not without the coaches, it's not without the players that since 1970 this has been the best franchise in sports. So shout out to everyone who ever partaked in any way, shape, or form in being part of Steeler Nation, because hey, that's something special. I guess it's time. It's time to let you know I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel. I won't even threaten a name change this week. Let us know how we're doing. Leave a like, comment, follow, subscribe, hit that little dingy bell thing so you get all the information. You can listen to the Bug Caps. Bug is getting better at actually talking. You can listen to the Power Rankings and make fun of the way Laskers, me, and Gingy all rank football teams. Although I do it purely behind statistics, so I can't have my personal bias in it because I don't want to make myself look more silly than I already do. But now I got to send it over to Laskers.
It's Laskers everywhere, and Bugga definitely is getting a little more talkative in all the instances of the Bugcast. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know if that's what you're calling it, but that's what I'm going with. And
Bugcap,
to you, Gingy.
It's Mutant Gingy in the house. We talking football. We playing some games. We hanging out, boys. We are getting fired up. We are riding high. 2-game win streak, ladies and gentlemen. Going into Ravens weekend. We've got December football, folks. If that don't get you warm, I don't think nothing will. Steelers Nation, wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.